It's 4:30 a.m. Time to check the Pirate Bay for Buddhist torrents. I used to have a laptop running for about 2 years with some torrents I had collected over the previous 4 years, I guess. And I would just let it run during the night, not every night, but... And then the laptop died. So this was from about 2 years ago, and if you're searching for Buddhist reference works on the Pirate Bay, these were the ones that I had found that are probably still there, and just an indication of which were popular downloads. So here's the top 20 or so, sorted by the size of the file. So this was download, the file name was just Tibetan Buddhism. It was a collection of hundreds of texts, I believe, and art, and it was like one big zip file, and it was a 3.8 gigabyte download. And over the 2 years or so, I seeded it to about twice the size. This was a popular one too. Shinzen Young, who's a very scientific presenter of the Buddhist meditation theory, the science of enlightenment. Oh boy. But he has many good YouTube talks. So this one's seeded like almost 10 times the size. It was 1.4 gig. That might be an audiobook. It's not a text, it's an audiobook. And then there was, this is a video, I think, Tibet Buddhist Trilogy, Karmapa, sort of a documentary, and that's seeded 5 times the size. And Aldous Huxley, that was great, that's seeded 8 times, about a gigabyte, and his perennial philosophy is really worth, I mean, that should be any Religion 101 class should have that as a text. Solzhenitsyn audiobook version of the Gulag Archipelago. I only listened to a few, but that was popular for some reason. It seeded quite a bit, 10 times the size. And this one I don't remember, Mind Illuminated. This is a recent book, Manjit Kumar, the quantum theory, the Einstein board debates. Those are, and this should be the philosophy of physics class, the Einstein board debates, along with David Bohm and Krishnamurti, and then Carl Jung and Pauli. So Carl Jung and Pauli had great dialogues. David Bohm, Krishnamurti, and Einstein and Bohr. That would be a great class to cover the 3. That seeded quite a bit, about 16 times. That's in a collection of enlightened masters. So these titles can be searched on Pirate Bay. This is the title that that they show up as. Trungpa, the collected works of Trungpa Rinpoche, and Robert Anton Wilson, R.A.W. He had some great audiobooks. I got to see one of his lectures in one of the New Age expos in like 92 or 93, before he died. He was a great philosopher. In this, so it seeded quite a bit. And Vipassana, this one is quite good. I would really recommend this. Goenka is, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a Vipassana teacher. And this is recorded during one of his 10-day Vipassana retreats. And he is an influential teacher. He taught many Western or American Buddhist teachers. I forget the list, but he really had a huge impact. And he was a lay person. He was not a priest. But these are his daily sermons during a 10-day retreat. So if you follow, you could do your own 10-day meditation retreat listening to these sermons, one per day, and really get a flavor for what a 10-day retreat would be. And this was quite popular, seated like 20 times. And this is another interesting book. Here's a large collection. This is one of those non-profits from maybe Indonesia or Singapore or somewhere. Public domain reference books. And they're all texts, not... and I hope this one's still available. This is an audiobook, a very recent, relatively, by Robert Wright, who has a YouTube channel, I believe. And this became somewhat of a bestseller, but he's a long-time practitioner, and maybe giving, I don't know, a little bit of a scientific twist to it. So then if I sort by how much total was uploaded, ignoring the size of the file, Shinzen Young takes the top place, followed by Solzhenitsyn and this Tibetan Buddhism collection, which is quite large. Then some others in the list of smaller size. Buddhist Psychology, Roots of Buddhist Psychology. Well, that might be Jack Kornfield. And here's a good collection, I believe. This is a small file, 39 meg. 45 complete Buddhism Zen meditation books in PDF. I think this has some good stuff. I definitely read a few out of this one. And Sri Lanka, that would be a good... Sri Lanka was where Buddhism survived after, I think, the Muslims wiped it out in India. I don't know the full history, but it definitely was an incubator or preserved the texts, like the Lankavatara Sutra. The texts were written down in Sri Lanka. I think that's an interesting history, how it got to Sri Lanka. I vaguely remember there were some missionaries who went and took the texts, and so the palm leaf collections maybe originated from there. That would be a great place to visit, I mean, as a pilgrimage. And as a side, here's continuing to sort by sides. So 3 Pillars of Zen, that's very recommended. That one kind of opened my eyes because it's so practical. It shows, teaching, practice, enlightenment. So he has some text. He has a Dogen text, and then he has some anecdotes of enlightenment, retreat experiences, showing the nuts and bolts of the delusions that you have to get through and the frustrations. And there's a great anecdote about him first meeting the Zen teacher and saying, why do you bow? You're supposed to, the text show, you're supposed to spit at the Buddha. Why do you bow? And the teacher says, well, you spit, I'll bow. So that was Kapleau Roshi, who then came back. worked in the Nuremberg trials, so had a great view of the human samsara realm of suffering, which I wonder if it really motivated his studies and, his motivation to way-seeking mind. But 3 pillars of Zen, that should stay in any list.